can you share a moment where you experienced loss that really impacted your mental health?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. For me, like I'll make my mistake. I don't know so much that I've told this testimony per se, or even this just portion of my life on the podcast per se, but I'll say it here, and I'll say the truth. Though one of the biggest moments in my life when it comes to grief and losing something was losing something I loved, and I really loved love. I really loved love. I loved connection. And some odd about, I don't know what, 7 to 8 years ago now, I remember getting into, I would consider it not my first relationship, but I'll consider it like one of my first relationships because like before that I was dating like 7th grade. I'm gonna say this relationship was when I was in college. And it's not even so much about the person at this stage of my life as I look back at it now, as it was about losing love. You know what I mean? And for me, I had this idol of love that I didn't even know I had. I knew I loved the rom-com, right? We talked about that. I loved me a rom-com, all right? I knew that. But I didn't know that I love love so much that I would allow it to instantly become an idol the moment it came into my life. I found that out. And once I found that out, I realized that, yeah, like it wasn't for me as well. And, you know, God definitely removed it from my life in that season. And it was a loss in my life because at the time it was something I really wanted, like love as a whole. You know what I mean? And I was enjoying the process of what that looked like, although I was also trying to do it my way. And I started getting so excited about it. I started to, you know, there's just so much started to happen that I started to lose sight of what was really most important, which was God and my relationship with him and fostering those things as well in the midst of that. So losing that, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like to this day, I still like, you know, to this day, I still hear like my family, like you weren't the same. And it wasn't so much about losing, again, the person. It was the fact that I had always sought out for the idea of love. And when I got it, or like the idea of it and lost it, I was just always on tip like, all right, now I'm going to watch how I move with this. The next one is going to be like this. I'm looking for the God told me. I'm looking for the mystical. Because if I don't find the mystical.
If that leaf don't fall on my on the hood of my car and it said the name, I ain't
on that. Look, I said, God, when I turn around this corner, let that tree spin around 3 times and take out its roots and go right back in the ground. And once that happens, well, I know it's you, God, and that's what I'm going to want. And sure enough, that tree didn't do anything, but in my head, that tree split around 3 times. I'm like, I got it. God, that's a sign. Yes, sir, I'm going. You know, but like, I tried to get, like, it changed me in ways like that, where I tried to, like, I was very, like, in that season, like I said, love was an idol. But like, to me, like, the idea of love was like, I like you, you cool, we Christian, let's date. After that, it changed me in ways where it was like, oh, like, yeah, now I got to be analytical about this. Now, if I'm going to date you, I need a sign. I need this. I need that. I learned as time went on, it ain't going to work that way. And God's not, you know, be careful. But it really changed me in that way. And I started to realize that a lot of the control I tried to now take was a symptom of that grief that I was feeling, you know, and not properly grieving it and not actually sitting with it the ways I thought I was. Started to breed into levels of control. It started to trickle into my other relationships. It started to trickle into how I dated. It started to trickle into, you know, how not that I ever lost hope of love, because I didn't, but it started to trickle into the way that I believed love. It started to trickle into even the way that I dated when I did. You know, it was like everything was God will. Now, you know what I mean? Like the hesitancy in me because of grief, because I dealt with something that was lost. Now it's like, I don't want to lose important things again.
Facts.
I don't want to lose something that's important to me again. So now I move like I'm walking on eggshells. You know what I mean? Because if I say this, or if I do this, now God takes away certain things in your life. That's another thing too. But if you just lose it, if you think you just lost it just because there was something you did in it, then the next time you come around, you're always going to be opposite. Like, let's say you lost a family member and you feel like, oh, like because I wasn't there for them, I lost them. Now the next time you're gonna overcompensate, and you're gonna try to be there for every single family member you have because you don't want to lose them again. Like, I don't want you to get, I don't want to lose your relationship. I don't want to lose you in life. Like, so I'm gonna overcompensate. So I would say that was like some things that happened with me. I started overcompensate. I started doing the absolute most. And I really started to try to take control because I didn't want to feel that level of grief or loss again.
Well, speaking